All right, we started the recording, and I'd like to welcome everybody to Friday's webinar, sponsored by the Idaho Innovation Center and the Small Business Development Center here in Idaho Falls. We're excited. Seems like every week we're getting more and more people, so we're excited about that. I'm having a lot of requests, people wanting to get into our archives, so people are catching on that these are very good and productive, good business builders, and so I think we've got quite a few people that have been accessing our archive of these webinars. So thank you for your participation. Next week's webinar, we're switching things up for the next 2 weeks. We're going to rotate them. So next week will be on search engine optimization secrets. A guy will be talking about how to make sure your business is reached out there and found on SEO. He's a web designer, so we're excited for that. Today's webinar is on how to win in the social media arena. So we have I've arranged for two guys that I would consider the area's leading social media gurus in the arena. They do work all over I'd say country, but probably it's more globally than that. They are definitely expanded outside of the United States, and I'll let them introduce. First of all, we're going to hear from Robert Brady from Righteous Marketing, and I'll let him tell a little bit about himself and introduce his presentation. He'll be taking the first 12 to 15 minutes, and then we'll be turning it over to Ryan Harris with Ryan Harris Social Media Strategic Partners, and I'll let them each introduce themselves and their time, but we are recording, so let's get into this. Mr. Robert Brady, the screen is yours.
Thanks, everybody. As Brian said, I'm the founder of Righteous Marketing, an online advertising agency. My contact information will be at the end. If you have any questions, reach out to me. But I want to just jump right into this. We're going to talk about how to use social media to go beyond your current fans and followers. And the way that you do that is through their advertising options. The abbreviation here, PPC, stands for pay per click, because in most situations you only have to pay when someone clicks on your ad and actually goes to your website. And so to keep this as simple and condensed as possible, to get through it in 12 minutes, I'll just be giving you the 3 steps to success when you're trying to advertise through social platforms. That includes Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. There are several out there. We'll be using Facebook as our example today simply because it's the biggest and the easiest to get started with. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is define your audience. And as you define your audience, these are the people that you want your ads to appear in front of. And you want to ask questions such as, where do they live geographically, if that helps determine who you'd like to see your ads. If you find that your customers tend to fit certain age brackets, how old are they, because we can target that. Is it targeted more towards male, female? What languages do they speak? Because I know Facebook has over 1.5 billion people worldwide on their platform, and so it's a great tool even if you're doing some international marketing. What are they interested in? And we'll get into that a little bit more. Interests can be very broad, such as just general, like what television shows are they interested in? What pages have they liked? Demographics is kind of a capture-all. It covers some of the stuff like gender and age, but also some of the I guess more subtle things such as buyer profiles using some of the data that Facebook has, and then behavior. And that's, what do people actually do when they're online? A lot of those signals are being captured by these social media platforms, and so you have a way to reach those people based on some of the things that they do online. And once you've answered these questions, you should have what's called a persona, or generally a picture of who you would like to reach. And so then this is the audience creation tool inside of Facebook, so that when you get to do this, you're familiar, it doesn't look strange to you. As you can see right here, you name the audience, and if you just target the United States, all ages, there's 192 million people that you can potentially reach there. You have the ability to set the geographic location, goes all the way down to city, state. You can also set an address and then choose a radius of within a certain number of miles. You can choose your age brackets, your gender, languages, and then this detailed targeting is where our demographics, interests, and behaviors all live. And so we get further into this, and we can start to see them broken out. It's just a huge list of information that you can drop down, and you also have connections, so that if you have a Facebook page where you have built a following there, you can actually choose to show your ad to people, only the people who've liked your page, or you can show it to the friends of the people who like your page, so that you can expand beyond your current followers. And you can also exclude the people who like your page, so that if you've chosen a group of people that you want to reach that are new, but you don't want to annoy your current followers with a bunch of ads, you can actually exclude those people from seeing your ads, and saves you money if you don't want to spend money on people that you've already gotten to follow you. And so once you've got that audience targeted, the next step is to go ahead and customize your ads. And with social media, I can't stress enough the importance of the image that goes with your ad. That's how you draw people's attention, because there's a lot of things going on in social media, pictures from their friends, funny videos. All of those things are striving to pull people's attention, and your image needs to likewise be able to draw the attention of the user to your ad. And once the image has brought that attention, your headline needs to very quickly say why it's relevant to them. So if you've targeted people that have a specific interest, consider saying that in your actual ad copy, so that it immediately answers the question of what does it mean, what's in it for me. And in your ad copy, you always want to have a call to action that tells people exactly what you want them to do after seeing the ad, whether that's a free demo, a free trial, buy now, shop our inventory. Always put something in the ad that gives them an action to take. And just remember that as you're creating these, you can add multiple versions of your ads. You can have campaigns that target different groups. You always need to be testing your ad copy, test those images, different images, find which ones work best, and then use those and put them up against a new challenger, so that your ads and your campaigns are always competing against each other, you're always keeping the best stuff, and you're always improving. And so that's the general idea of what you want to do, but where do you start? There's almost an infinite number of audiences that you could potentially target because of the breadth of these networks. And so I'm going to give you 3 audiences that you could start with today that would be very effective for you. The first is called a custom audience. And what you do is you actually take a list of your current customers' emails, and you can upload it directly into Facebook and say, okay, I want to create an audience. They're my customers. You go here, you click on customer list, you upload a CSV file with all of your customer emails, and it actually creates an audience of just your customers. So if you know that people tend to purchase from you multiple times, you can advertise only to your customers, and your ads can very specifically talk about what that follow-up purchase is. If you sold them a TV, you can talk about the sound system that goes with it, maybe a new Blu-ray player, upgrading into the next version of their television. If you know they bought a year ago, maybe they want something different. And so a custom audience allows you to laser focus and only target people that you know are your customers or you have had contact with, so they're already going to be familiar with your brand. They're much more likely to click your ads, and they're much more likely to buy from you and interact with you because they have in the past. second audience that you can go to, it's called the lookalike audience, and it's based on the custom audience which you uploaded, and what you tell Facebook is, hey, these are my customers. I would like to target people who are similar to them. And Facebook will put their data to work. They'll find people who are similar along a lot of different characteristics. I've found great success with my clients, and you have a lot of control over this. You can say, like, you want a 1% match, which means that you want it to be very closely matched to your people, all the way up to 10%. My experience has been that 10% is far too broad. Start with 1%. And with these lookalike audiences, they'll be as good as the initial list you gave them. So if it's your list of customers, you know that that's a very high quality list. The lookalike audience will similarly be very attractive to you, and you should see good results because they're similar to people who've already bought from you. And then lastly, a competitor audience. This is a little tricky. You have to kind of work the system. In interests, for example, like in Idaho Falls and Pocatello, people who are interested in plumber, electrician, or HVAC, that's based on people who like pages that Facebook thinks are about those things. So if people have liked a competitor like First Call Jewel and you're a local plumber here in Idaho Falls, by targeting this interest, you can actually target people who have liked your competitors, put ads in front of them, and see if you can get business from them. And so those are three audiences that you can start with today: a custom audience, a lookalike audience, or a competitor audience. They should all perform very well for you. If you have any questions, the information is here on the slide. Feel free to reach out to me, but I want to make sure and leave plenty of time for Ryan. He's going to talk about how you can use social media organically to increase the number of people that are fans or followers of you. So I'll kick the screen back over to them.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Brady. And I'm sure there'll be some questions. I've already got a few questions for you at the end that we'll have. And let me see, Ryan, you got the screen now? Ryan, you there? All right,
there we
Ryan.
go.
There you
are.
Yeah, I think you were
Okay.
unmuted because you were streaming live on Facebook. Is that right?
That's right. I'm streaming live on Facebook, so we got a little bit of Facebook live going on. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes, we are creating clarity in your brand.
Yep, perfect. Well, listen, I want to shout out to Robert. Robert, great presentation so far. One of the things that when I talk to business owners on a day-to-day basis, one of the things that they ask me is, how do I reach my current clientele base? I follow quite a few different people in the world of social media, and one thing that I've learned almost more than anything else is that today's job in the world of marketing is all about day trading for attention. What I mean by that is if you're driving down the street, for instance, and you look over to the car next to you, where is the attention of that driver? Hopefully it's on the road, but most of the time, and I've seen people from 18 years all the way up to 65-year-olds that are, in all honesty, they're actually on their phones. And so you look at billboard advertisements, you look at radio advertisements, you look at flyers, you look at mailers, and the question is, what's the best use of the dollars that I'm spending? And Robert's done a great job of really articulating the value or the how-tos of how to reach your first audience and start advertising on Facebook. And I would just share with you that Facebook advertising today is what I've seen the cheapest way of getting your content in front of your audience. Now, so that brings me into this world. If I'm a business owner and I'm trying to sell a product or service, where do I go? What do I do? There's plenty of radio people, there's plenty of newspaper people, there's plenty of all these different salespeople that are trying to share with you what their reach is. And one of the biggest questions that most people ask is, okay, based on the dollar I'm spending, how many people am I reaching? I know in the TV world that's what it is. And I know radio-wise, it's about a 1-to-1 ratio. So every dollar you spend, you'll be reaching one person from an audience perspective. And what I've found, and Robert, you can probably say the same thing with my clients, is you're typically about every $100 you spend, you'll get in front of about 10,000 people. So the reach of social media marketing and social media advertising is better than it's ever been. And one of the reasons I'm doing a Facebook Live video right now is because that reach expands even more so when it comes to video, and Facebook really loves Facebook Live right now, and so they're really pushing that. So just keep that in mind as you're a business owner trying to figure out, how do I reach my clientele base, and how do I take an engaged person on social media and turn them into a purchasing customer? That there has to be a story that's told behind that, and that's what I want to dive into now. Is what is the clarity? What is it in your brand? What's the story that you're telling online? I've found that the best thing that I've been able to do is really help a clientele base identify what that is and what that looks like. For instance, what are the things that they see as frustrations in their business? What are the things that they see that are great in their business, and what's the purpose of their business? Now, the reason that we do this with brands specifically is because people, for the last 20 plus years, we've been advertised at instead of talked with. And what I mean by that is we've lived in a world where we're push marketing, and that authenticity there's just a lack of authenticity in the push marketing world, and the social media space is changing to a world of authenticity. So the better you portray your brand and in a way that resonates with your current audience, your potential audience, your current customers, your potential buying customers, that will just correlate and connect more effectively than it ever has before. If you do any research, generational research, you'll learn that the 18 to the 35-year-olds are the least loyal customers out there today, meaning they're not brand specific. They don't really care about the tides of their parents. They buy products and purchase services based on what they see as value, and that value is coming in a lot of forms and fashions, especially in the world of social media. Recommendations, reviews on your Facebook page. If there's one thing that could really help build the value and the authenticity of your social media business or your social media presence, Facebook specifically, is get out and get some reviews on your page, because people always look for reviews. They're always looking for reviews. So the question then is, the key to organic, and when I say organic, that just means free growth. Paid advertising is a great way of capturing an audience, bringing that audience to a table. But if you're bootstrapping, if you're a startup business owner and you don't have the funding, for instance, to spend on it, how do you build a followership of likes, engagements, comments without spending an arm and a leg, right? So, and again, Facebook, being one of the cheapest ways of doing that. There's so many different ways. But here's a couple questions that you might want to ask yourself as a business owner. What does your brand say about your company right now? What is your social media brand saying about your company right now? What is your messaging saying about you and your brand? What are the posts that you're putting on social media talking about you? I wrote an article for the Post-Register, and they wanted me to go and identify some companies that are doing well with social media. And I'll be honest, I couldn't find very many companies here locally that are doing anything different than using social media as a push marketing platform. They're trying to use traditional forms of advertising on social media. They have 3,000 to 4,000 to 5,000, some of the ones that I analyzed, they have 3,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 people that have liked their page, but their engagements are less than 10. And the reason behind that is they're not providing value to the audience. They're pushing and saying, well, this is how great our juice is, or this is how great this product or service is, and they're not saying, what can we do for you? How can I get into the mind of my consumer, share with them content that would resonate with them versus resonating with me telling them? And it's just the difference between a push and a pull marketing strategy. So, what does it mean to provide provide value? Let me share with you a couple different examples. We went through targeted marketing already, so I apologize for throwing that back in here. But the number one key is to generate great content. If you can generate great content for your business and your business model, then everything will change. I want to just show you a quick infographic that I found on HubSpot. Should have had this up here earlier, so I apologize. But this was a great statistics or a great infographic that shows the value of video marketing. Video is one of the best ways to capture your audience today. And just to show you who uses videos, 65% of all U.S. marketers plan to increase their mobile budgets or I'm sorry, their mobile ad budgets to account for video. 96% of B2B organizations use video in some capacity in their marketing campaigns. Here's the interaction. This is what I thought was the most powerful. 90% of users say that product videos are helpful in the decision process. 75% of online viewers have interacted with online video ads this month. 92% of mobile video consumers share video with others, right? 1/3 of all online activity is spent watching videos. So when you think about the value of how do I really reach my customer base, I would highly suggest that video content be a part of that. Blogs are great as well. If you can provide blog content where you're talking about things that are happening in your business, maybe it's a certain topic in your business that you bring value to, make sure you have that. Another hack, I call it a hack, but Facebook long-form posting, maybe some of you have seen this on a post where it has a little see more section. If you can position a post so that people have to click on that see more, that acts as an engagement with the post, which then Facebook's going to say this is relevant, and because of its relevancy is going to increase that organic reach. So make sure when you put a post, maybe it's a video, that you don't just put 4 or 5 little words or one sentence that talks about the video. Now, if it's live, that's okay. If it's recorded, make sure you put some context so it gives people a reason or a purpose to come on and actually watch the video. And I've got just another minute here. So Instagram, there's a really cool Instagram hack, and a hack just means kind of like a shortcut or a trick. It's an app called Gramma, Gramma. Gramma is an application that basically shows you can take something you're posting about on Instagram, and you can type in what the hashtag might be. For those of you that don't necessarily understand hashtags, hashtag is a searchability feature on Instagram, Facebook. It's not as popular on Facebook as it is on Instagram. But if you throw that hashtag into the Gramma application, it'll kick out the most popular Instagram hacks that are trending on Instagram specifically, so that you can capture an audience quicker utilizing Instagram. Now, the next thing that I would also recommend when it comes to content, again, we're talking, I know, more specifically about Facebook, but Snapchat's a growing platform right now. If you have a product or a service that would target an 18-year-old or even a 13-year-old, all the way up to a 25, 35-year-old, that's where all the attention is today. So the storytelling aspect of how do I share my story in an authentic way? What does my brand say? What can I do as a brand new company, or maybe just starting a social media profile? What can I do? Tell your story, because your story will easily capture the audience. Now, another quick thing that you can do, one of the reasons why you build up your personal following on your personal page is because it gives you the opportunity to invite those friends over to your business page. Okay, very easy little hack. And then groups, we don't have the time to go into groups, but there's a lot of groups out there, locally, nationally, in the world, that might correlate and collaborate with your product or service. Don't be afraid to jump in and just listen. Listen to what the audience is saying. Listen to what, your product, how you could improve your product. And as an example, I'm part of a 9-to-5 community, and inside that 9-to-5 community, it talks a lot about these people who are leaving their business to try to become an entrepreneur. And there's a lot of really great questions inside of that, which has helped me structure a lot of my content and how I share my content with the audience. So if you're a product or service-based company, you're trying to say, how do I reach people even more organically on social media? You might want to go out and search groups. Very easy to do. Just jump into the top part of your Facebook feed where there's the whiteboard bar and maybe type in your brand or type in a product that you sell and just see what they're saying online about that. So referring partners, influencers, there's probably businesses, people out there that are already in your space. Don't be afraid to reach out and connect with them if they have an audience or if they don't, and build that audience collectively. So, well, that's for Robert. This is me. If you guys have any questions, and I'm sure there'll be a few questions here, this is how you can connect with me. Ryan at strategicsocialpartners.com. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You're welcome to jump in and connect with me there. But the idea, again, is whether you're building this, and Robert, I'm sure you might have a couple thoughts behind this, but whether you're building it organically or building it from a paid advertising perspective, I suggest both. Do something, right? do something, because the attention of the average consumer today is not on billboards, it's not on radio, it's not on TV as much as it used to be, even though I say that, you know, there is some validity to that depending on your demographic, but tell your story in a way that reaches the audience, and then as you create those engagements, that's what's going to show Facebook, Instagram, social media in general, giving you a return on your investment of time or dollars spent on those platforms. So, Brian, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Got some feedback going on here, so I'll step away a little bit. Is there any questions that people have out there? And then I've got a couple myself. So is there anybody out there that has some questions for Ryan or Robert? A lot of people don't have microphones. I can see there's only a few people, so I mean on the web they may not have microphones. So I've got a question. If a business wanted to test this out and say they had a budget of $150, is it something? I mean, $150 to $250 to get some exposure out there. Would you lead them to Facebook or and I mean? Is that where you would lead them in this market? And the second part of that, is that something that the average business person can do through their account on Facebook, or is it? Do you suggest that you need to go to a person that specializes that to get that done? If you have a budget, under $1,000.
Short answer, yes. It's definitely worth. Even with small increments like $50, you can reach thousands of people through social platforms on their paid platforms. And I think as far as which specific place they should put that money, it really depends on who you're trying to reach. As Ryan mentioned, younger demographics, Snapchat's very popular, kind of the middle. Facebook kind of covers everything. But really, you want to put your ads where your customers are, which also plays into that idea of listening, knowing what they're interested in, what they're into. But I've seen success with very low-budget campaigns, $50, $100 at a time. And the beauty of it is that you only pay when someone clicks, and by looking at your analytics and tracking, you know exactly what that $50 got you. How many people filled out the form, how many people bought, and so you'll know very quickly, even when you're only $50 in, $100 in, if it's working, and if it isn't, you can shift gears.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree 100% with that. That's the great thing about Facebook advertising specifically, like Robert was saying, is you get so many insights into, is this the right audience, and if it is the right audience, is it performing? What type of clicks are you getting, how much engagements are you getting, and so on and so forth. Now, the tricky thing, Robert, and I know we don't want to get into too much detail, but the tricky thing when you go to run a Facebook ad is there's like 9 different what they call events, different criteria that you can establish when you're running a Facebook ad with different types of calls to action, if you will. One might be conversions to your website, one might be a like campaign. So you really have to identify what you're trying to accomplish with the dollars that are being spent. Not only the target audience, but you want to identify what you're trying to accomplish with those dollars spent. Do you want them to buy a product, or do you want to just build out your Facebook campaign? Because each one of those will be a little bit different, and you'll structure the messaging in your Facebook ads a little bit differently as well. And I think that goes along with, there's a question here on the chat window that I'm seeing. It says, how do you recommend defining your audience? Robert, if you want to take the first shot at that, and then I can follow up with you on that.
Yeah, defining the audience, it will help you if you get into the campaign creation tool. Like in Facebook, you create audiences before you create ads. And so you can go in and kind of play around in the audience creation part of Facebook without having to worry about spending any money, and go look through the interests, look through the demographics, look through the behaviors. I mean, it gets so specific to the point where they're bringing in data from third-party vendors where you can advertise to people who buy a certain brand of cereal. Like, it's that specific. And so you can look around in there, but kind of think of who your ideal customer is. You know, how old are they? Where do they live? How much money do they make a year? What kind of car do they drive? And then take that and go look at the audience options that you have in Facebook, and it's very easy to find really, really similar targeting options in there. And then you can just build several different audiences all before you spend a dollar and before you have to worry about creating an ad.
Yeah, and I think the difference, and exactly like what you said, Robert, I think, you know, the traditional marketing world, from the way that I understand it, is they've always kind of taken a shotgun approach of, let me just shoot something out there, hope something sticks, and the way that Robert just described it is Facebook, one of the reasons why it's so effective is you can take the sniper approach of saying, this is the exact person I want to get in front of, and here's exactly what I want to say to that person, and then you can test it. Split test that, meaning run 2 ads at the same time, run different images at the same time to see which ones are performing the best. So I guess the answer, Brian, kind of a long answer to what you said, is if you have a limited ad budget and you're just trying to figure out how to generate sales, I would identify your target market and just figure out exactly what that target market looks like, and then just test it. You know, as much as people might say, I know exactly how to do this, I've had great campaigns that I've run for clients that have worked very, very well, and I've run very similar campaigns for a similar client with a similar audience, and it hasn't been as, you know, hasn't worked as effectively. So just keep in mind that it's kind of like a science experiment, right? You're testing different things to see what's working and what's not. But pay close attention to it. Don't just set a $500 ad budget, run it for 2 weeks, and then forget about it until it's over. Pay close attention to it, because then it'll give you some indication of whether you should be spending money or not on that specific element of your business. So,
Awesome. Great, great questions and super response. Appreciate everybody's participation. Ryan, Robert, thank you for your preparation and your dedication. I can tell you that what I gained from this is that it's not happening with me doing it myself, so I need to engage other parties to do this, to get this done for me, because I just don't have the knowledge and the expertise, and I'm sure other people feel that same way. So hopefully encourage people to reach out to Robert and Ryan. They both are. There's a reason why they're gurus in this area, is because they do it day and night. So great job. If anyone has any other questions or would like access to our webinars, shoot me an email. Would love to help. Next week is on search engine optimization, so every business should pay attention to what people are looking for to make sure they get the biggest audience again to their business. So thank you again, everybody. Look forward to. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Ryan. Have a great day, everybody.
bye.
See ya.
Thank you, guys.